I don't shake hands with you." The billionaire's words cut through the air like a knife. Standing in the glittering boardroom on the 62nd floor of Solterra Enterprises, her tall frame and commanding posture cast a shadow over everyone present. Victoria Solterra, one of Manhattan's most feared and admired billionaires, was known for her ruthless efficiency, her diamond-sharp decisions, and her unapologetic arrogance. For years, she had lived by her mantra, "I don't shake hands with staff." To her, it wasn't just about germs or etiquette, it was about hierarchy. She believed that physical contact blurred the lines between power and subordination. To Victoria, respect flowed in one direction only, toward her. The room fell silent as her words echoed. Executives shifted uneasily, used to her sharp tongue, but never fully comfortable in its presence. Into this icy environment walked Marcus Johnson, a black entrepreneur from Atlanta. He was not intimidated by the billionaire's glare or her refusal to shake his hand. Marcus had faced struggles far harsher than corporate arrogance, growing up in a neighborhood where opportunity was scarce, fighting his way through systemic barriers, and building a tech finance firm from scratch with nothing but relentless determination and late nights fueled by hope. Marcus carried himself with quiet dignity. He adjusted his suit, looked at Victoria without flinching, and said calmly, "That's fine. I didn't come here for a handshake. I came here to build something greater." A murmur swept through the room. For the first time, someone had stood toe-to-toe with the billionaire without trembling. Victoria's lips curved into a faint, almost mocking smile. She thought he was just another ambitious man trying to prove himself. What she didn't know was that this man carried the weight of entire communities, investors, and an unshakable belief that integrity was the foundation of true power. The billionaire began the meeting with her signature cold efficiency. Charts lit up the boardroom's massive digital screen, displaying projections of a groundbreaking tech venture valued at billions. She spoke with precision, her voice smooth yet cutting. "I need partners who understand money, speed, and results," she declared. "But remember, respect isn't given, it's earned. That's why I don't waste time on pleasantries." Her words carried finality, a reminder to everyone that they were in her world, playing by her rules. When Marcus's turn came, he didn't stumble or flatter. He rose and unfolded a presentation unlike anything the board had expected. His strategy integrated advanced analytics, untapped global markets, and, most importantly, an emphasis on people. Marcus leaned forward and said, "Your numbers are good, but they're not enough. What you're missing is resilience. A company isn't just numbers on a chart. It's people, ideas, and trust. If you want exponential growth, you must invest in more than machines and markets. You must invest in people." The boardroom grew still. No one ever contradicted the billionaire so directly, but Marcus's voice carried conviction, and his plan was airtight. Victoria studied him, her eyes narrowing. "And you believe you can execute this?" she asked, her tone dripping with skepticism. Marcus didn't hesitate. "Not only can it be executed, it will redefine the industry, because where you see numbers, I see lives. Where you see staff, I see innovators. That's why my plan will work." The board members exchanged surprised glances. They weren't used to this level of boldness, and neither was the billionaire. Barely 5 minutes after Marcus concluded, chaos struck. Victoria's phone buzzed with urgent alerts. A rival conglomerate had made a surprise $15 billion acquisition move overseas, threatening to derail her entire tech project. The boardroom plunged into panic. Executives whispered frantically, flipping through notes, trying to calculate the potential fallout. Billions were at risk. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. "Silence!" she barked, her billionaire's authority freezing the room. But behind her controlled exterior, she felt the first flicker of doubt. Then Marcus calmly stood up. His demeanor didn't waver. While everyone else scrambled, he began pulling up live data streams on his tablet. "Your competitor is over-leveraged," Marcus explained, projecting graphs onto the big screen. "Their move looks powerful, but it's unstable. If we reposition within 48 hours, not only can we block their expansion, but we can also draw $4 billion in fresh support from global investors hungry for stability. Gasps filled the room. The numbers were staggering. Victoria leaned back in her chair, masking her shock. Could it really be that this man she had dismissed was the very one holding the solution? In less than 10 minutes, Marcus laid out a step-by-step rescue plan, swift, precise, and visionary. By the end, the entire board was staring at him as if he had just saved them from drowning. The billionaire, however, said nothing. Her pride clashed with reality. For the first time in years, she realized she might not be the smartest person in the room. The board erupted into discussion, dissecting Marcus's plan. Every risk had been considered, every angle covered. Executives who moments ago had been panicking now spoke with renewed confidence. Victoria's voice finally cut through. "Explain it again," she ordered, her tone still authoritative but edged with curiosity. Marcus repeated his strategy, this time slower, ensuring every board member understood. His words were crisp, his logic flawless. One executive whispered, "He saved us." Another muttered, "This changes everything." Victoria's jaw tightened. She had built her empire on dominance, on the belief that no one could outthink her. Yet here was Marcus, a man she had refused to even shake hands with, outshining her in her own boardroom. Her eyes lingered on him, conflicted. Respect wasn't something she gave freely, but against her will, she felt it building. By the meeting's end, the board unanimously approved Marcus's proposal. Within hours, Solterra Enterprises announced the $4 billion influx of support, sending shockwaves through the corporate world. Stock prices surged. Analysts called it the turnaround of the decade. Victoria stood at the center of the storm, hailed as a genius leader. But inside, she knew the truth. It was Marcus who had saved them. That evening, she found herself alone in her office, staring out over the glittering Manhattan skyline. Her reflection in the glass looked different, less invincible, more human. For the first time, she questioned her mantra. "I don't shake hands with staff." Was it pride, fear, or weakness disguised as strength? Marcus hadn't needed her handshake to prove his worth. He had done it through action, and in doing so, he had forced her to rethink everything she thought she knew about leadership. Weeks passed, and Marcus's influence only grew. Victoria began inviting him to strategy meetings, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Slowly, her cold exterior softened. She began listening more, questioning less, and even, shockingly, shaking hands with her team. The staff noticed. The culture shifted. Where once there had been fear, now there was collaboration. Where once the billionaire had ruled with an iron fist, now she inspired with vision. Marcus, however, never sought the spotlight. He declined interviews, avoided headlines, and focused on results. To him, success wasn't about recognition, it was about impact. Behind closed doors, though, whispers spread across Wall Street. The black man who reshaped the billionaire's empire. The ballroom glittered under golden chandeliers as New York's elite gathered for Solterra Enterprises' annual gala. Journalists lined the walls, cameras ready to capture every moment of the billionaire who had almost lost her empire, and the man who had saved it. Victoria Solterra, elegant in a deep sapphire gown, stepped onto the stage. The room fell silent. For years, her speeches had been cold, calculated, meant to inspire fear. But tonight, her voice carried something different: humility. "Months ago," she began, her gaze sweeping across the audience, "I said words that revealed my deepest flaw. I don't shake hands with staff. Those words, born of arrogance, nearly cost me everything: my company, my people, my legacy." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Many remembered the infamous moment that had gone viral, a symbol of her pride. Victoria drew a breath. But one man, Marcus Johnson, showed me what real leadership means. He reminded me that an empire is not built on fear or control. It is built on trust, respect, and people. Without those, power is nothing. The audience erupted into applause, but Victoria wasn't finished. She stepped down from the stage, her heels echoing against the marble floor, and walked straight to the back of the room. Cameras followed her every step until she stopped in front of Marcus. He stood tall in a simple tuxedo, not seeking attention, yet commanding it with his quiet presence. Victoria extended her hand toward him. The world seemed to pause. The same woman who once refused to touch him now offered a gesture of equality, respect, and gratitude. Marcus accepted with a calm smile. Their handshake, captured by 1,000 flashing lights, became more than a moment. It became a symbol. That night, Victoria's empire wasn't just saved, it was reborn. And Marcus Johnson's legacy wasn't wealth, it was change.